Hey guys, welcome to my booktube channel, and today as a first video I thought I'd go through my top 9 favourite series that I have completed, along with one that I consider a favourite but I haven't finished the whole series yet. So let's get into it. The first series on this list is a series I actually haven't finished. I am 4 books into it and there is 7 books total, but I love the stories and characters so much I just couldn't not mention it in this video, and that series is the Throne of Glass series. This series consists of Throne of Glass, Crown of Midnight, Heir of Fire, Queen of Shadows, Empire of Storms, Tower of Dawn and Kingdom of Ash, along with a novella bind up which is The Assassin's Blade. So this series follows a young assassin named Selena Sardothian who has been imprisoned as a slave in some salt mines, and then Prince Dorian comes along and asks her to compete in a competition as his champion. That is how this series started out. From where I am in the series, which I am now on to Empire of Storms, I just haven't read it yet, that is not the story anymore. The story is completely different, but I can't tell you because it's spoilers, obviously. So this is like number 10 / not actually included, and that is Throne of Glass by Sarah J Maas. Now on to the actual list, and the first book on the list is The Monsters of Verity Duology by V. Schwab. This is set in a dystopian, fantastical world where monsters and humans live side by side, but they don't get on, they don't coexist peacefully. And this book follows August Flynn and Kate Harker. August is one of these monsters and Kate is a human. And this story really shows like the fine line between what is monstrous and what is human. And it's just something V. Schwab does really well, sort of morally grey characters and characters who have done bad things but are still the good guys in a sense. And yeah, this duology is really good, and I feel like it's really underappreciated compared to some of V. Schwab's other works such as Dark Shade of Magic and Vicious. This duology deserves so much more love than it gets, and just read it because it's one of V. Schwab's best. Obviously it's on this list for me. So yeah, that is The Monsters of Verity Duology by V. Schwab. And next up is another duology by another favourite author of mine, and that is The Six of Crows Duology by Leigh Bardugo. So this book follows 6 outcasts who are brought together to do a heist. That is Six of Crows summed up. So this duology consists of Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom, and just this book is so good. I didn't read this until late last year, and I kind of wish I'd gotten to reading a lot quicker than I did because this duology is incredible. The writing style in this is amazing. The characters are just so in depth and you love them all for different reasons. And yeah, just Leigh Bardugo's writing style itself is amazing. Another contender for this list, although only one book in the duology out so far, is the King of Scars duology, because oh my god, that book is just another level of awesome. But we're talking about Six Crows here. This is just so good. So good. Just read all the books on this list. Read all the books. And the next book is The Dark Artifices by Cassandra Clare. This book follows Emma Carstairs, who is a shadow hunter in the Los Angeles Institute, and it follows her a couple of years after the ending of The Mortal Instruments. Can't tell you what happens, obviously, because spoilers for The Mortal Instruments, but this is another amazing series. You have to read TMI before you go into this, unless you know everything that happens in TMI, then you could probably just go right into this. But I kind of have a love-hate relationship with this series, but I still thought it deserved to have a place, because I love Lady Midnight and Lord of Shadows, but I wasn't a massive fan of Queen of Air and Darkness. So it's kind of love-hate relationship, but it's still amazing and I still appreciate it for what it is. But I'm just not a massive fan of Queen of Air and Darkness. It's a currently 3-star rating, but thinking back on it, maybe I can boost that to a 4-star. But I'm positive that Lady Midnight and Lord of Shadows are 4 and 5 stars each. So yeah, just read all the Cassandra Clare books. Just read them all because they're so good. They're so good and so in depth. The next book on this list is The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. In this book you follow Jude and Taryn, who are both humans and twins, and their older half-fairy sister Vivian. So what happens in this book is basically Taryn and Jude's mum and dad and Vivian's mum get murdered by a fairy who is Vivian's dad, and they get taken away to fairylands, and it basically follows them being raised within the fairies and what happens to them and how mean other fairies are to them, how much they don't fit in. And we meet Cardan in this book, who is a prince, and he is cruel, hence the title. So yeah, this is a very mixed opinion book. You either love it or you hate it. I've noticed there's no really in between. So if you like fairy courts and the discussions of like what happens in the fairyland, stuff like that, then I highly recommend this series. But if you're not into fairies at all, please don't read it, because it's all about fairies living in the fairy courts, everything like that. It's also very political and sort of war-ish, if that makes sense. But yeah, this is another favourite of mine. The second book in this series is The Wicked King, and the third book is The Queen of Nothing. And Queen of Nothing's release date has been brought forward to November rather than January of 2020, which is just incredible, and I cannot wait to read Queen of Nothing after the jaw-dropping ending of The Wicked King. Next series on this list is The Shades of Magic trilogy by V.A. Schwab. This follows Kel, who is a young magician who can travel between 3 Londons, which are Red London, which is the magic London where Kel lives, Grey London, which is our London, kind of magicless, White London where there's basically nothing, and there's another London called Black London where Kel can't go because it's just dead, it's empty, there's nothing there. So basically in this book we're following Kel, who kind of takes things from different Londons and kind of has his own collection of trinkets, which is very illegal in this world. And he one day finds something that doesn't belong in any of the Londons, and he tries to take it back where it should be. And chaos ensues, as always with books like this. This series is incredible. Yet again, another one of V. Schwab's master-filled, more like grey character-filled masterpieces. This was the first V. Schwab book I actually read, so this book has a special place in my heart because it introduced me to this wonderful author who I don't think I could live without her books at this point now. So in this series there is A Ricochet of Magic, A Gathering of Shadows and A Conjuring of Light. There's also a prequel comic following Kel and Rye's dad, Maxim, and that is also really good. So if you like comic books and stuff like that, I recommend that. The second sort of bind up volume's coming out in September, I think. So pick up the first one and read it before September. And the next series on this list before the big top 3 is the Caraval series by Stephanie Garber. This series follows 2 sisters, Scarlett and Donatella, who got invited to Caraval after Scarlett had spent her entire life writing letters to the Caraval's master, Legend. This series is so whimsical, so magical, and just I can't deal with how great this series is. I didn't read this series until May, I think it was May, no, it would have been April because I pre-ordered Finale. So it was April I read this series, and I really wish I'd read it sooner because it's just great, and Legend is incredible. I love Legend as a character. I don't really know what else I can say about this because this isn't my favourite book in the series. My favourite book's the second book, so I can't even tell you much about my favourite version. But yeah, if you like a whimsical, magical roller coaster of a series, I recommend the Caraval series. We're now into the top 3 favourite series of mine, and the book that takes number 3 spot is Vicious by V.A. Schwab. Yes, this is the third V.A. Schwab book on this list, don't hate me. Vicious follows two men called Eli and Victor, and they're in college for some of the book and are adults for the rest of the book. So when they're in college, Eli is doing a kind of thesis on extraordinary people who near the brink of death but come back with magical abilities. And during some research, Victor and Eli both end up with extraordinary abilities. And then when they're adults, well, when they're more adult than they are in college, Victor and Eli are turning each other down to kill each other because Eli sent Victor to prison. So yeah, it's pretty high stakes, pretty action packed, and it's quite spooky and quite in some bits because there's a character in this that can like raise the dead, and it can be quite creepy, but it's such a good book. I prefer Vicious to Vengeful, but I still love Vengeful, if that makes sense. Just, there's a character in Vengeful who really annoys me, and I just couldn't deal with her, and she's like a main character in that book. But yeah, again, if you can't tell from this video, I absolutely love V. Schwab. And read all her books, read them all, especially the 3 that I've mentioned on this list. My second most favourite series of all time is The Infernal Devices by Cassandra Clare. Anyone who knows me knows how much this series means to me. This follows Tessa Gray, who comes to England from New York, well, comes to London from New York in search of her lost brother. And she gets kidnapped by 2 sisters called the Dark Sisters, and then gets rescued by Shadowhunters. And her and the Shadowhunters kind of get together and find her brother, and other things happen, and it's pretty much everything you'd expect from a Cassandra Clare novel. So there's that, and just the characters as well. I love the characters. Jem deserves the world, and Will is amazing. Tessa sometimes annoys me, but she's in a pretty shit situation, so I can understand why she can be a little bit annoying sometimes. But yeah, I'm just gushing over this book. I did a reread earlier this year, and I fell more in love with this series than I did when I first read it back in October last year. And just everything about it is great. Everything. And if you're any of my close friends, or anyone who follows me on Bookstagram, you'll know exactly what series I'm about to talk about. And it is the Court of Thorns and Roses series. For anyone who doesn't know me, get ready and buckle your seatbelts for how much I'm going to gush about this series. Not this book in particular, most likely A Court of Mist and Fury, which is my favourite book of all time. So A Court of Thorns and Roses follows a human girl called Farah who kills a beast, and this beast later turns out to be a fairy, and because she killed a fairy, she now has to come and live in the fairylands with this High Lord called Tamlin. That's pretty much it. And then later on she finds out some freaky stuff's happening, and more than meets the eye is going on in this world. So this series is just incredible. Literally I could sit here and talk about A Court of Thorns and Roses all day. But yeah, that's literally all I can talk about right now because the rest of it's spoilery. But Rhysand is the most delightful High Lord. And that was my very first video. I understand it might have been a bit chaotic, a bit hyper, a bit choppy at parts, but I'm still just learning how to do this and how to do it properly. So please, within a couple of videos, I'm sure I'll get the use of explaining books properly, not talking too fast, stuff like that. But if you have any suggestions for videos you want to see, please just leave them in the comments, and I will see you in the next one, I guess. Goodbye!